So I wanted to show you guys this week. I spent the last couple of days scanning a bunch of newspaper clippings and chatterbox pages, and I edited them so we could print them up and laminate them and put them up on the walls around the co-op because I think they give off a certain important part of our history. If you don't know, the Chatterbox was a publication created by the co-op. It was a crew to create this thing, and it was about 7 people, and it ran from 1947 to 1998.
So it was a crew, like it was members' actual crew.
Yeah. There's the crew chief was the head editor, you know. Something happened around 99, and they didn't find a new Chatterbox editor, and it died, basically.
I have a question. How long was the Chatterbox going on for?
Well, yeah, 1947 to 1998, so...
47 to...
98, so about...
50 years?
About 50 years.
So did it stop with Arusha or like right before him or something?
It's unclear.
Okay.
Yeah. He certainly didn't seek out a new editor. Let's put it that way. So one of the things that I found is this series of articles written in 1975 by John Burke and his friends. John Burke was either a philosophy student or just really liked writing, good at rhetoric, and he wrote these very interesting pieces about cooperative values in relation to UCHA and the current history of that time that I think are really interesting to read. They give really good context for our current troubles. This one is about people and finding inherent value in the community based on the people that you live with here. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty interesting. Over here we have a newspaper article about LGBTQ community in the 80s feeling like it was safer to live at the co-op than it was in the dorms, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, how can that... Oh, there goes the dike. Do you know if we were like this with like other groups of people as well? Like, you know, I don't know. Were we preferred by minorities or?
I mean, I don't know if we were preferred, but definitely there was a fact that we were like one of the few interracial houses, and we held like a lot of women here. We definitely gave more opportunity here for minorities and women to be able to stay on the near the campus than other places. This one especially talks about how a certain wing was basically a small enclave of LGBTQ people. And I think it was D Wing, and it was that was their community, which is really cool.
Nice.
There's lots of articles. I'm going to sort of just talk about a few here and there, but know that there's a lot that I'm not necessarily showing, just for sake of time. There's one right over there about the grant and Robison and getting renovated. So why don't we go to A.k.a. Cool. So this is another thing that I put up. It talks about the fact, as I was saying, this article talks about the fact that the planning of Triple H basically went back to 1955, and this is a 56 article, and originally Triple H was going to be designed as a building with about 2 floors just for women, because there was a serious housing shortage for women on the Hill, both on campus and off campus, and the co-op, UCHA, was spearheading a high-tech facility to solve that, basically, which I think is really cool.
Did it happen?
I mean, this is Triple H.
Yeah, but was it only 2 floors for women, or did they force to fill that capacity? Do you know? Is it in the article?
What do you mean?
We should have at least this.
No. I mean, the co-op went co-ed before Triple H was built, so they didn't need to make a facility specifically for women.
Okay.
Yeah. Another interesting Easter egg here. This is a Chatterbox article with a cover that shows Landfair House, which was the small house, one of the 2 small houses that was on this lot before Triple H. And then there's a little article here about how they were going to run Triple H right after it's built.
That makes it look like a cemetery.
Over here is the largest article I've posted so far. This is an 8-page article by John Burke about democracy at UCHA. I think it's a really interesting read. Certain parts of it are hard to read because they're very dated in the way he talks, but I think there's some really valuable content to be gleaned from this article. He sort of talks about community and idealism and how it's all necessary for democracy and the different pitfalls and how it's relevant to the co-op, and yeah, I think it's interesting.
Thank you.
So I put up a number of articles in the waiting line so that when you're waiting to get your food, you can look at them. There's a lot of sort of interesting stuff here. I put a lot of co-op thought pieces. This is one from, I believe, 1951. Somebody talking about their complaints with how a co-op was being run and their suggestions. This one talks about a dance we held with all like different fraternities, and back then there was other co-ops here as well, and we all had this huge, basically block party. And there's some story about like how it almost got messed up and the police.
Oh.
It's cool.
400 people.
Yeah, and that's back when the co-op was only 150 people.
So which building was this in?
I mean, no, it was all down the street.
Ah.
And so I think they talk about the party moving from Robison to Landfair House. And,
Wow.
yeah. So it's cool. This is another co-op thought piece. Again, people talking about different problems they feel like were with the co-op and what the solutions are. Again, very relevant. This one's from 75. Here, this one is really interesting. This is the Chatterbox article that covered the board meeting where they first discussed building Triple H. This is 1955. I think it's a really interesting piece of art history. Something not a lot of people might know is that the building of Triple H was very contentious. A lot of people believe that when a building like this is built, it would remove like the tight-knit family aspect of the co-op and would change it to be more dorm-like, which some could say it did.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who lived around that time referred to pre-Triple H as the old co-op and after it as the new co-op. And a lot of things that not a lot of people know is that a lot of co-opers didn't actually like Hardman Hansen. Not Hardman Hansen, but Hardman. Pop Hardman. Yeah. And so they wouldn't call the building Hardman Hansen Hall, they would just call it the new building, because they didn't really want to justify him in that way. So it's interesting. I mean, it's fascinating.
And this is before, right? Yeah, I would like to read if they have articles after, still criticizing how the community
They
changed
do,
as
they
well.
do, they do. I don't know. I think a couple of those articles are up, but there's definitely articles from before and after. This article is pretty interesting. It's about the president of SDS. This is in 1969, so like, you know, Vietnam War politics, communism politics, all that played a part in it. And the president of SDS, Students for a Democratic Society, lived at the co-op, and UCLA was going to basically remove his. They were going to expel him from the school. Like it says, like 300 people came and rallied against his expulsion, and the article says that many of those people were co-opers. So it gives us a lot of sort of political context for the time as well, which I think is interesting. Why don't we go to Essene? Essene. Yeah, a couple more articles here. This one is a newspaper article on diversity of co-op. This one over here is, this one's really cool. This is a report from our ambassador to what was like the predecessor to NASCO. This is from 1942, so very close to the co-op's inception. And basically this guy went to NASCO, or what was pre-NASCO, I think it was called PSSCL. So Pacific Coast Students Cooperative League, I believe is what it was.
It's definitely better now.
Yeah, and he just talks about what we learned from it, how it applies to our co-op. Still relevant. Still a lot
So
of things
this
that are
person
relevant.
is not a member, right?
No, this is a member. He was our ambassador to this conference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we should have this. It's like I have never heard anyone telling me, like, you know, officially feedback from these conferences.
Yeah. We used to have
It's
it.
kind of like a holiday, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a group of people go for free to a conference.
I agree. I mean, yeah, it's not really. It's. I agree. Yeah. So if you want to follow me, I'll go off that piece over here about just like. Yeah, just like what the co-op means to me. This one is from, I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way. He's actually really interesting to read and really give you context for a lot of issues that we have. This one, 1950.
Before Triple H.
Yeah. This is an article on the concept of cooperation and like people who give it credit, people who sort of put it down as just a childish idea. This one is written by Bill Rittenberg, who is a friend of John Burke's. I think it's pretty interesting. Over here we have an article about a cooperative fair that happened on UCLA campus.
Oh, it's a Daily Bruin article.
Yeah, it's a Daily Bruin article. It's just talking about how UCHA will participate and talk about the value of cooperativism at the fair, which I think is cool. I think it's cool that they had a co-op fair. So that's the 3 buildings. Like I said, I didn't show everything. There's some stuff I didn't point out. I'm gonna be putting up more stuff very soon, so hope you guys are excited and will look out for it.
This is our